And they produce energies for the other creatures around them in their innocence. They take the water and produce beauty. And the creatures around them appreciate the beauty. They don't understand the flower working itself and becoming itself and expressing itself. But they feel the presence of something there different than them. You're going through that process now, becoming flowers. And what's going to be the key here, and you're getting, you're going to start smelling differently, more perfumey.
That's nice.
The first sign will be, how you say, you'll notice there's the Virgin Mother's presence there, because she's the one who's going to teach this thing.
Oh, nice.
You smell her aroma around you. And then you learn from her teaching how to develop your own aroma. And it's not by what you eat. It's by how you modify thoughts you've received and adjust your thinking. Your auric fields change, your aroma changes, and you don't have to wear perfume because you know what you're doing. You're becoming more of who you are supposed to be. Literally, the flowers within Eden. And that's what your hands were for, your fingers. You were told to work the soil. You were told that. Told, T-O-L-D. But everyone's better than that. What they say. It's good someone is. Because you haven't learned to feed yourselves yet.
We will, sure.
That's when it's going to panic, is going to hit. So peace to all beings, and prepare yourselves in what you call your innocence to understand what reception is. Because you're preparing to receive. You're preparing to receive. You are preparing to receive. With what you've done, then you wait and present, and it's given. It's given. God is a cornucopia of gifts. There's nothing He can't give. Not a thing. The worth is displayed upon the gifts being received. But be gentle unto yourself. Little bit at a time to understand what is termed the word appreciation. For having applied yourself to receive. So the appreciation goes to you, having worked so well to have received. That's how it works. And then the self-acknowledgement becomes easier. You don't, how do you say, stress over certain things. You understand your permanent importance in God's eyes. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. Because when the invisible starts showing up and making itself felt, you beings call it energy. Oh, that's just energy. It can manifest itself as a rock in space in front of you, so you walk right into it. And I don't mean a rock sitting on the ground. I mean a rock in your face, just vertical, standing there, floating.
That's
The
scary.
being is allowing ones to be taught that want to learn, so that learning can be taught with instructions of caution, dignity, and peace for those that are being taught. Because you have issues and entities about you that are not visible, that don't like the human condition. And they're trying to interfere with you. And you can see it in your political wranglings. If you look, those are not normal people there. But you would turn normal. Having alignments to other beings for the power and control of them. But right now, we understand these words, peace, protection, and joy. We understand the necessity for having peace in the heart chakra. Peace to all beings. And when you have a resistance to that, you'll know it's time to adjust your circumstances. Peace is where the health is. The health of the body, the mind, and the spirit. It's where the healing takes place, and it's where the healing is proven. Within the peaceful construct of the physical form. Okay. Peace to all beings. Now, this questions.
Questions. What are the beings in our bodies? You said there are beings in our bodies. Do we have to have those beings in our bodies? Or how do we let go of them? What are they doing in our bodies?
You have a being in each chakra.
Oh, that's supposed to be there? For
Yes,
our well-being?
yes.
Well, who are other beings? Are there other beings that
Yes.
we do not want to have and
Yes.
they're in there? And
Yes.
how can we say, get out of my body and stay out?
Yes, well, you drink the water and tell them to get out.
And if they
Talk to the
don't,
water.
if they do not, drink some more water and say it again, huh?
You know how you have a tendency to argue sometimes?
With me? With you?
You argue.
Well, I'm just asking to make it clear.
I'm going to make it clear.
Make it,
The minute you start the other confrontation wording things,
yes.
you call a being to do that for you. Always with the questioning, and there's peace to all beings.
Yeah.
And then you pay attention to the cellular modulation that's going on you, like a tuning fork. Each cell is a being. You have 144,000 spiritualized cells. That's 144,000 people that are going to go boof. Each being has 144,000 of those spiritualized cells. You have to understand that feeling in you.
That's
And
what-
those are the ones that continue reincarnation and reincarnation. As one unit.
we knew of this before we were incarnated, that we have to allow 144,000 beings in our body at all times.
You have 144,000 spiritualized cells.
Spiritualized cells.
Each cell is a being.
And they all become beings like ourselves, incarnated beings eventually. Is that why they're on Earth?
They're learning through you. And you have other entities, negative ones, that jump into you to steal that presence or that essence, we'll say.
And they can come in anytime they want to.
Because of what you're thinking, yeah? Or watching, or playing, or whatever.
I'm trying to be prayerful and to
Yeah.
focus on God, and
Yeah.
still they come in, huh?
Yeah. You got to be aware of it's a fine process. Even when you leave the body, die, you're in your astral, there are beings grouping, trying to convince you of something, some other thing. One of the quickest ways to move when you're playing die is to understand there's got to be more than this.
Sure.
And you say, Father, and you will go. When you're in your place to play die, remember your prayers. Even if you don't know what they mean really now, the prayer is like a rocket ship for you as you're leaving the body. Yeah. Too often people leave the body and they look at it. Don't look back. Go.
Go to the light.
Just go.
Any place?
Just go. Up. Okay? Because light and darkness are the same thing.
Yeah.
Just twisted, looking at each other. The light needs the darkness to know itself. The darkness needs the light to know itself. And in between you have all the radiations and colors, understandings. But you're really going to be surprised sometimes when you find out who is really teaching you.
Who is?
I said you're going to be surprised.
You want to tell us now? You want us to be surprised?
How did you learn what to do, not to do?
The hard way. No.
The hard way.
I guess the
Yeah.
prefer not
Yeah.
to do it.
Satan happens to have a way of teaching, you know. He stands behind the throne right there. He knows. He's the one always jabbering.
He is more.
And sometimes he's sent to get corrected things. The thing is to recognize it. That's why Christ once said, "Get behind me, Satan." He knew he was one of the disciples there. A couple of them, actually. Momentarily. Mm-hmm.
So he has more power.
So you
than
recognize who you are not and who you are. And you can be influenced by power, which is what has caused most of this confusion on your planet right now. Instead of the sustaining a life, it's more fundamental to create war to take it. That consciousness that instructs, builds and instructs to produce wars is going to go to another place where there won't be war. Yeah? And they'll be in this hole where they'll want one, but they can't get it. And the peaceful ones with no war are going to understand what water and air are all about. Creatures, beings, extraterrestrials if you like, whatever. You're much more than you think you are. And you've been put down so much you can't understand it. You are from the angelic realms.
Yes.
And the positions here are to appropriate the energies of dignity and grace just so your presence fixes the space. Just being in the space. The invisibles that are around you at the time that are, what you call, working with you, not the antagonists, appreciate their moment of grace when you are there and calming the space. Yes. Yet you don't understand that yet in the manner beyond verbiage. It's the application process that you're involved with now. Because you have 7 chakras behind your shoulder blades. 7. They open. That's where the angelic wings come out. You push them back. They're connected to the 7 chakras here. They're like mirror images, I would say, so you could balance yourself and not just fly with one wing.
Are we gonna fly like you see angels?
Well, you move differently. You move differently.
We're gonna,
You would think it was flying. You just move differently.
are we gonna be floating? Something
You
like
transport yourself. You're here, you're there.
that. Don't have to walk.
No, you don't have to walk. You can if you want to.
Teleportation.
But walking has a whole other frequency that goes with it, too. You're calming the planet when you walk. She knows who you are. She's glad you're here, that thing. Somebody's doing something, she says.
Yeah.
So you're going to learn your bones. This is going to be the interesting part now. I'm going to tell you this,
Okay.
and it'll be forgotten.
No.
But as the planet starts vibrating more, your bones are going to talk to you from inside you. You're going to hear voices inside you. Your bones are going to speak, screaming a little bit. Pay attention thing. Because you're going to need to learn what backup means. Back your thought, back up, hold it. I don't mean get back up into old conversation that didn't get you anywhere. I mean back up. Inside yourself, be present and notice and observe what's going around you at that moment. And then peace. And then move gently. Because when you do back up like that, you're picking up another frequency of yourself, what you would term part of your invisible being. And you're going to feel larger. But you're not larger physically. You're just understanding more of the space. And then get ready to perceive in that space. Not just feeling. And you might see some things that might not be attractive. But just calm yourself. Don't react in the normal way. Back up. Thank you for the visions. And then you learn to turn that one off or turn it on brighter or whatever. But you're working in another frequency here. You're working in your puberty God form.
Can I ask a question?
Mm.
Is it one prayer more important than the other one, or it doesn't matter? How important is your prayers?
Very important. The one I recommend for now is Psalm 6. It was given by David. And it protects against primarily invisible enemies that you're not aware of yet in the astral. It asks for them to be ashamed. And shame is one of the weapons that handles a lot of things out there. You can't advance because they know the shame of it. And first verse, it asks for your mistakes to be, you admit your mistakes and be clean. And then the fifth one is important because there's no remembrance of thee in Sheol, Father, that thing. The devils don't like to remember God. And the 10th one is that enemies be ashamed thing for your protection. Instead of asking for damage to them or anything else, the shame, there's a whole group of beings that handles that shame thing. Big ones.
So Psalm 6, 5, and 10.
Psalm 6.
Just 6 covers all that.
Yes, verse 1, 5, and 10. It was given by David when he was going through his struggle with his family, his brothers. Given to David. And it worked.
So who's listening to your prayers when you pray?
All of them.
Angels and devils.
Angels?
All of them.
All of them?
All of them. Because when they say a prayer, the angels have to respond, but they listen to how you're saying it.
Oh,
Are they saying it sincerely or just one of the little flippant things? I'll wait for the next one.
so you have to be passionate
You
about
better understand it, what a prayer is. It's basically, you don't know anything and I'm opening this up to you, Father. Basically. They do things, yes. The next one I recommend is Psalm 150. That's the one with glory to God, praise to God, praise, 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 because you recognize He's the one that saved it, cleaned you up and did all of that thing. And David, by the way, was known as the entity Jesus, yeah?
Was it the same one?
Yeah.
David and Jesus?
Yes.
He was the one that was thrown into the hole. His brothers were jealous of him. Is that it? No?
Thrown into the hole?
Yeah. No. What happened to him? Was he rejected when he was David in that lifetime?
Was he what?
Was he rejected by his family, by his brothers?
There was all of that nonsense. Yeah. He went through that portion and more. But he left the prayers. And the connection is, there's 150 Psalms. Jesus came back and gave you one prayer. He condensed the 150 Psalms that he had to work through to this last prayer, which you beings call the Lord's Prayer. It was for the Lord's, to the Lord's, by the Lord's, from the Lord's. If you understand that part, you've got the secret. You've got Psalm 150 in a hand. Psalm. You have all of the Psalms in that Lord's Prayer. Covers everything. Covers everything. Covers everything.
Is Jesus going to walk on earth again in physical form?
Already has.
Openly as he did when he was Jesus on earth? I know you've seen here and there, and I've...
Little bit at a time, little bit at a time.
Yes.
Shiva has appeared physically.
Where?
In San Francisco.
Oh, I heard of that. When? No, recently.
Gee, they're all going to appear. Get ready for Moses. But you won't recognize it. You don't expect the expecting. You can't define it. There's nobody defined it when he was here for other times. So the presence is different here. You're going through experiences that you have information in books, but you still don't believe it.
Yes.
Yeah? You've got planet Nibiru coming around.
What is he going to do? Nibiru. What is he going to do? Nibiru.
The electrical function is going to change here. Flip, pole shift, all of that thing. Thoth is there. The being you call Thoth, Anubis, the Egyptian beings, those god frequencies, they're there.
Are they going to cut off the lights then when Nibiru goes by?
They're going to knock everybody's head together until you get it. Bang!
Oh my gosh.
You're not going to have anybody to complain to now. Because all this stuff has been out there in information, but nobody's done anything with it.
You make it real, much more real than just reading books.
Well, the feeling process is what you're going to have to work through.
Yes.
And the feeling is understood in the water.
Yes.
And what you talk and communicate with the water. Have you ever seen the size of the ocean? You know how much a gallon of water weighs?
8 pounds.
And how much do you think that ocean weighs?
I don't want to imagine. Trillions, zillions of tons.
There's weight there. And when it moves things. There's consciousness there. There's a being there called the Queen of the Sea.
And
She owns all the water.
And King of the Sea too?
King, prince, and princesses. But the Queen is the one you don't want to upset. Understand?
Why would we upset her? Some people manipulate the water, you mean? That they will be upsetting her? And then she's going to splash it all over us?
All the creatures are dying in the sea. But the human condition does not realize what it does to water. That's in your body already, just by your thinking crazy thoughts. All the water feels it. You think you feel the feelings in the flesh. You're not. It's the water telling you. Water has memory.
Yes.
And it sends us information out. It's always communicating. It's always communicating. The trick is to calm yourself down within the water that you are. That's the trick. That's the trick. And the body, flesh body, is becoming heavier now. Becoming heavier. Because you haven't learned to use the electrical portion of yourself yet. Too much. It's pretty much more magnets.
It's changing from electricity to magnets, no?
Magnets wants. Give me. Mine. It doesn't have anything.
I have an idea.
Yes.
That the energy of the ocean is so great that I have a feeling that if humans could develop or become all that energy, we would be like a being of light. It's the energy is so great of the ocean. Well,
the secret of the ocean is God's path is through the water. That's the secret
Okay.
of the ocean.
God's path to what?
God's path is through the water. God walks through the
Is
water.
it why waterborne people by astrology, there are 3 signs water, more receptive, being psychic, because they connection with the water element?
If it's applied correctly, yeah, there could be happen. They also pick up more confusion. Yeah, more confusion.
Yeah, because you have to
Yeah.
handle that
Because the
knowledge.
water's not as clean as it should be, yeah?
You have to handle that energy. Yeah, that makes sense.
You have clarified several things for me tonight. I've had this extreme feeling of loneliness with people being around me, and I've had challenges with my bones and my lower back, and my whole body is aching, and I'm going, what's going on? And this has helped to clarify that.
I was thinking about that because
Everybody's getting hit in the lower back and the pelvis area. That's why I said it's going to need to strengthen thing. Because you're going to find out, well, you're already finding it out. You are really walking in loneliness. Yeah? In a manner, but because nobody's recognizing who you really are inside. You see?
God is.
But the fact that you see animals and other creatures, you know consciously you're not alone. But the loneliness thing is where God shows up and show you, how do you say, an opportunity coming for a more spatial presence. And that's the growth inside yourself and a whole nother expression of yourself, more confidence. So you're going through a birth phase physically, and that being understanding what loneliness is. You don't have to do it anymore, you figure it out. Psalm 6 will take you there. Psalm 6 will take you through the process. It's not only your feeling. Remember, you have other entities pushing this on you. So you say, peace to all beings, and you can take your hand in a counterclockwise motion like this. Peace to all beings. You create the whirlpool, and it throws anything out. It's not peace to all beings.
Can we call
And you
unto
peace to all beings for yourself.
Can we call unto angels to protect us constantly so
Yeah,
that the
yeah,
evil doesn't
yeah.
attack us all the time? One night I woke up and I said, feeling came over me, nuclear war is imminent. Stop it. I said, stop it. And I asked for God and divine beings to protect me, and then it stopped. But why did that feeling come? I never thought of it.
fear.
But why?
Peace
Fear.
to all beings.
Who was that? That was devil trying to inflict all of us to make us
Peace to
self-
all beings. Don't contemplate it. Peace to all beings. Understand what peace to all beings means?
Just keep saying
Peace to all
peace
beings.
to all beings.
Peace to all
Divine-
beings. If somebody comes and says that, to peace to all beings.
Cut 'em up.
Peace to all beings.
When they
Do
say
not entertain it. Peace to all beings.
Recently, different churches have started to change the Lord's Prayer, and I was, I'm a little aghast, really, but they're feeling. One of the feelings is that instead of in the Lord's Prayer, God being up there, that God is in here. And that's why they're changing the wording but I think that the wording is resonant of energy, right?